This is the mission history for the first week of October, as told by Pastor James Huang. And it's an incredible story, really. It's about two people, Louis and Maddie Tate, whose journey of faith and sacrifice left a mark on Korea that you can still see today.
You know, every big story has a starting point, a single moment where everything changes. And for the Christian mission in Korea's Honam region, that moment was November 3rd, 1892. This one day was like planting a single seed that would eventually grow into a massive forest of faith.
But to really get why that date is so important, we have to rewind the clock by 1 year. And we're not going to Korea. We're going to Nashville, Tennessee, because it was right there in 1891 that a single speech completely changed the course of history for a country halfway around the world. So at the center of all this is a guy named Horace Underwood. He was a missionary who just had a deep, deep love for Korea. After 6 years there, he came back to the U.S., but he wasn't really there to rest. He was on a mission to get other people to join the cause. And his voice at that conference was the spark that lit a brand new fire. Now, Underwood wasn't alone. He was with a young Korean student, Yun Chiho. And together, they didn't just give a dry lecture. They painted this vivid picture of a nation that needed help. And their plea, it wasn't just heard, it was felt. It hit one young man in the audience right in the soul and set him on a path he'd never turn back from. And that young man was Louis Tate. Now, he was this fascinating mix, right? He was a man of science, a medical school grad, but also a man of faith from a theological seminary. This combination made him perfectly suited for what was coming. And right there, listening to that speech, his life's purpose just snapped into focus. He was going to Korea. So let's fast forward. It's that fateful day, November 3rd, 1892. Louis Tate, along with his sister, finally steps onto Korean soil. And he wasn't there as a tourist. Nope, he was a man on a mission, ready to pour everything he had into this land that would become his new home. Tate zeroes in on the Honam region. From his home base in Jeonju, he traveled constantly. He wasn't just preaching from a pulpit, he was out there building relationships, laying the groundwork piece by piece for a spiritual awakening that would sweep across the entire area. And the results? They were just incredible. Over the next 33 years, Tate helped establish 78 churches. 78! And these weren't just buildings. Each one became a real beacon of hope in its community. He was building a network of faith that was meant to last. But Tate was smart. He knew that for the church to really thrive, it couldn't depend on him forever. It needed local leaders. So he poured himself into training a new generation of Korean pastors, getting them ready to carry that torch forward. He wasn't building something for himself. He was building a movement that could sustain itself. And a huge part of that was establishing elders in each church. He appointed 21 of them himself. These men were the spiritual backbone of their communities, offering wisdom, guidance, and just being a living example of what faith looks like. So, what does all of this add up to? Well, over 1,500 people were baptized. Their lives were completely changed. It just goes to show you the incredible ripple effect that one person's unwavering commitment can have. It's a power that's still felt today. But here's the thing about Louis Tate's story. It's really only half the picture. Because his mission and his whole life was about to be transformed by the arrival of another amazing person, a woman who would become his true partner in every sense of the word. So 5 years after Louis gets there, Maddie Ingold shows up. She's a medical missionary, and she brought a totally different, but just as vital, kind of healing, caring for people's physical needs. Together, they were this perfect team, ministering to both body and soul. So you can probably guess what happened next. They're working side by side out in the mission field, and their shared passion for serving others, well, it grew into a really deep love. After an 8-year courtship, they finally got married in 1905, and their two ministries and their two hearts became one. And Maddie's legacy? It's huge. She wasn't just a doctor. She was a true pioneer. She founded the Jeonju Jesus Hospital, an institution that has literally been a source of healing and hope for more than a century. Her story is written in the countless lives she touched and hospitals she built. When you look at lives like the Tates, lives just completely given to others, it makes you wonder, what's the real measure of it all? Beyond the buildings and the numbers, what does a life of service truly leave behind? To really answer that, we have to look at the final chapter of their story. And it's a chapter that reveals not just the power of their love, but the true cost of their dedication.
After 33 years of nonstop work, Lewis's failing health forced them to go back to America. Their mission in Korea was over, but their story wasn't. Lewis passed away in 1929. But Maddie, man, she was a testament to resilience. She lived all the way to 95, carrying their shared legacy forward for decades.
You can see the Tates' legacy in the big things, right? The churches, the hospital, they're still there. But maybe the most powerful testament to their sacrifice is much, much smaller. It's in a quiet little cemetery in Jeonju. There, you'll find the grave of their infant daughter, who lived for only 1 day. Her tiny grave is the silent, heartbreaking reminder of the profound personal cost of their service.
So, that is the full measure of their lives. An absolutely immense impact, built on a foundation of just unwavering dedication and sealed by deep personal sacrifice. The story of the Tates is really a story of faith, of hope, and of a love that truly crosses all borders and lasts through time.
Pastor James Wong, who served as a missionary in China and now ministers in Maryland, USA, is a researcher of Korean mission history. He shares from his book Remember and Repay 52 weeks of mission meditations every week.